Hello guys, so Jerry speaking. Welcome to Bedtime Stories, episode number 635. Today we're doing another Juneteenth book, and it's a history of Juneteenth. And how long is this book? Oh man, this is gonna be a long book. Anyways, this book is not gonna be long. It's gonna be forever to read. So anyway, it's gonna take a whole day to read this. So let's read it now, shall we? So we got for us a history book for new readers, written by a historian Norwood, PhD. Here we go. I'm not doing this for 30 minutes, but let's do it for an hour, okay? It was illustrated by Short Cloud, published by Walridge Press. Here we go. Seeing here is all that, but here we go. Wow, this is gonna be like 8 chapters. Wow. Copyright 2022 are reserved. To help enjoy my family, special thanks to history colonists. Wow. It's like 50 plus pages long. Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's all there for the contents. Here we go. Chapter 1. Setting the stage, okay? Understanding Juneteenth. When Sarah Ashley was a child, she thought about a life different from her own. She imagined playing outside and laughing with her best friends, okay? She dreamed about freedom. She wanted to be an ordinary kid, okay? Unfortunately, she could not. Wow. Sarah Ashley was born enslaved. Difficulties, I know. She was forced to work under harsh and dangerous conditions. Okay? She was considered the property of another person. She was bought and sold without her permission. Wow. As if she was an item in the store. Sarah's entire family had been sold as well. Difficult enough. They were separated and then sent to other places. Oh my god, wow. Slavery was evil. Difficult enough. She knew that it was supposed to be free. Instead, thinking about the awful, scary word, she dreamed of the day, and that everything would change. On June 19th, 1865, Sarah recovered her birth of freedom, and that is, of course, Juneteenth. So that makes sense in any way. So there you go with that, and that's how you may understand what Juneteenth is. I don't know what the reference of Juneteenth means, so sorry about that. Next page. Anyways, this book's about Sarah Ashley's journey from slavery to a new world of dreams. It's also a new history of a holiday called Juneteenth, which I don't understand. Anyways, a celebration of journey about this story. It's about determination and courage, okay? Many of these chapters will teach about difficulties about Sarah and other African Americans face. Okay? At times while reading, you may feel discouraged. But I invite you to think that, like Sarah, dream and focus on freedom, difficulties and all. By doing so, you will be inspired to keep trying no matter what obstacles you may face. And by the end, you have all the joy you need to celebrate Juneteenth. I'll encourage you to imagine and celebrate a new world, just like Sarah Ashley. Okay. Just gonna take that while you're important holidays in history. How to celebrate these holidays. I celebrate Elgin Day in February 24th instead of just be called Juneteenth. So don't blame me. Anyways, slavery in America. Hundreds of years ago, people throughout the world traveled to the continent of Africa. Okay. Africa was a very rich continent. So was African countries as large countries. Many Africans were wealthy and successful. It makes sense. So at least do something about this in the American countries, like where we live now. So there you go on that. Where we're gonna do this anyway. Next page. Anyways, Harriet Tubman escaped slavery in Maryland, 1849. She returned to the South to help more than 70 enslaved people to freedom. There she was a spy in the Civil War. Wow, okay. In order to stop enslaved people were, excuse me. People escaping from that. The United States Congress passed laws called the Fabulous Slave Act, something like that. These laws said anyone who escaped slavery had to be returned to enslavers. One law even allowed Southerners to travel in the North to capture the free black people and bring their blacks in slavery. This law meant that even the enslaved people made it in the North, they were never free. So anyway, now when enslaved Africans arrived in America in 1619. Wow, okay. The first, excuse me, first Spanish Slave Act was passed in 1793. Slavery is legal in the northern states in 1804. Second Federal Slave Act was passed in 1850. Okay, that makes sense anyway. So that's where all the slavery may get at and all the events make sense anyway. So there you go on that. Next page. Anyways, now it's chapter 2, the Civil War. North versus the South. After the northern states abolished slavery, life for black people in the North got better. Wow. They could be paid for their work and even got to go to school. In southern states, black people were not free. Wow. They could not work for themselves or move about freely. Learn to read were also legal. Even black people try to leave plans. They face violence. Wow. Difficulties enough. Soon their country started to expand west, and as new states and territories became part of America, something like that. Northern and southern states began to clash. That's not right, sorry. When the new territories be allowed to use enslaved labor, and more, excuse me, Port Rule would decide whether territories became a slave state or free states, like that. Anyways, in 1854, Brigands decided to add Kansas and Nebraska to the United States. Wow. Sovereigns wanted these territories to become slave states. Okay? This is difficulties. I know this is how much we can do this anyway. So, there you go. Next page. Anyways, job of the think fact. What is enslavers like to spread slavery? What is other fight against the spread of slavery? Now, I don't know. Sorry. They do not want the free states to outnumber them. Okay? Northern argued that Kansas and Nebraska should be the free states. Wow. By 1860, this country was in trouble. Wow. In the year new President Abraham Lincoln was elected, he was against the spread of slavery. Wow. He was against the spread of slavery. I said that. Okay. Enslavers southern states decided that no longer would be part of the United States. They ceded and created a new constitution. They even elected their own president. Okay. They call the country the Convention States in America. I don't call it that anymore. Sorry. That's just America. Anyway. Northern states were known as unions for that. Who? Abraham Lincoln became president in 1861. He used his first speech as the Southerners stayed in the Union. 1 month later, however, the war began. Wow. Scary, I know. Anyways, Sovereign states was called the Convention. Split led in the Civil War. The Fight of Freedom in April 2nd, 1861, something like that. April 12th, 1861. Anyway, the Civil War broke out at the Fort Summer, something like that, in South Carolina. Wow. The Union lost the first battle. President Lincoln was worried. He's increased the number of Union troops. Wow. Difficult thing to know, but it is frustrating, I know. But anyway, that is the worst thing I've ever seen in history. Next page. Anyways, Union Army was larger. Excuse me, anyway. Union Army was larger, but most of the war was fought in the South. The Confederate troops knew that land is better than the Union soldiers like that. The Army's next phase off is Battle of Bull Run, Virginia, like that. The Confederate Army won this battle as well, like that. Anyway, at the next fight, the battle Charlotte, Tennessee, like that. Anyway, Union won. Many soldiers were injured or dead. Oh man, the Union war did not feel like a victory, like that. Throughout the war, many Southerners continued to use enslaved black people to work their farms. E-I-A-O. But anyway, enslaved people also work in cement factories to make the materials that very needed to fight the war. Wow. As fighting continues in the South, many homes and entire towns were destroyed. When the Civil War started, many Americans believed it would not last only a few months and nor if it would easily win. They were wrong. The Civil War turns out to be long and deadly. Using commands, soldiers face hardship. Good enough, I guess. And it's scary, you know? How much you end up, just like in World War I and World War II. In the 1910s until 1940s respectively. I don't know what to do, but anyway. Next page. Anyways, now this is a win competition. Anyway, Abraham Lincoln is elected president on November 6, 1860. The Civil War begins in April 12, 1861. And from April 6 to 7, 1862, the battle of Charlotte was fought. On February 1861, Confederate States became coalitions like that. Anyway, Battle of Bull Run fought in July 21st, 1861. Finally, Battle of Alabama is fought on September 17th, 1862. Now we're moving on to Chapter 3, the Hamilton Mitigation Proclamation. Now, and that's where it all started, so there you go. That makes more sense anyway. Here we go, next page. Anyways, the important step. The United States Army struggled at first. President Abraham Lincoln knew how much to change strategy to defeat the Confederates like that. Southerners continued to use enslaved people to make money to fight with the war. Lincoln began to think of ways to abolish slavery in the Confederacy. Wow, scary enough. Enslaved people did not wait for this plan. When the war started, they began to see freedom. By 1862, thousands of black people escaped. Why? Many want not the only freedom, also fight for the Union Army. They were not allowed to fight. However, because of the color of their skin, and it was a frightening thing. Anyway, in 1862, the same year, anyways, Lincoln began talking about freeing enslaved people. That is a good thing. He was worried that the others would not support his decision. Black leaders like Frederick Douglass argued the president to abolish slavery, and also allow black men to join Union Army on New Year's Day, 1863. Abraham Lincoln issued a Immigration Proclamation. It started the black people in Confederate States were no longer enslaved. Scary, I know. Across the country, people celebrate. It's good. Who? Frederick Douglass was a famous politician, partisan speaker. Douglass escaped slavery at the age of 20. Once free, he decided to his life to end slavery, speaking out against racism. As a good idea. I don't know what to do next, but it's terrifying. I know. The Immigration Prohibition did not mean all enslaved people were free immediately. Sovereign enslavers did not want to obey the prohibition. Good enough. Slave people still have escaped and make it their own to the Union Army. Okay? Confederate soldiers and some sovereigns made very hard for them. Many people were hurt and caught as they tried to leave, and I felt worried, you know. And that is a terrifying thing, you know. Difficulties, I know. Next page. Anyways, nothing to worry here. Anyway. More. Jumping to the think track. Why do you think the committee did not obey the coalition position? No idea, sorry. Others were brought back in their enslavers and punished, but people continue to seek freedom. Coalition proclamation allowed black men to join the United Army. Union Army, something like that. Almost 200,000 people, black men, signed up. Now, the Union black men made more soldiers to help them win the war. Where? It says in the coalition protection. Wow. The end of the war. Coalition protection did not immediately end the war. But it made the Union Army bigger and more powerful. Wow, okay. The commercially revealed on enslaved workers to farm their land, so lost money and resources. In April 1865, the largest unit of the conference armies swallowed the United Union Army for Virginia. And only a few days later, President, okay. Does that make more sense to you? I don't know. It all depends. We'll see what happens. Next page. Anyways, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated while watching a play. Ugh. Anyways, Americans were shocked and sad. And the war in this ended, many Northern politicians began to fight the 13th Amendment. Wow. And the conditions by that. The amendment would end slavery in the American forever. Okay? Some politicians did not want the amendment to pass. Many people worked hard to make sure Congress approved it on January 31st, 1865. Well, civil Congress would approve that the 13th Amendment and slavery was declared illegal. Over the next year, black people all over the country became free. Wow. Months following the war, excuse me, free black people worked to build new lives. Wow. They started new paid jobs, were not lost family and members. They continued to create successful communities. They began to start their own schools and blur. And there were challenges ahead, but African Americans everywhere were excited about the future. Now, when the Civil War starts in 1861, and Revolution is declared in 1863, the largest unit and Congress Army surrenders in 1865. Now, further attempt is approved in the same year. And that's what it should have done, and that makes more sense anyway. So there you go on that. Why black schools cover your skin? It's going to school like that. That's all type of skins type of school. Anyways, next page. Anyways, I can't go on the next page. Come on. Anyway, June 19th, 1865, and that is one. Chapter 4, General Order number 3. Here we go. Almost 2 years later, after the Prohibition, more than 250,000 black people, some of that, 250,000 black people anyway, were still enslaved, even though the largest unit of Comanche army surrendered. Some courageous troops in places like Texas continued fighting the war. They believed they could still win. Wow. They refused to free African Americans and made it very difficult for them to get to the Union Army. Wow. African Americans knew they were free, but they had to know what to enforce their freedom. Enslavers ignored their prohibitions, some of that anyway. They were used violence to force them black people into say. Instead, in 1865, Union officials knew they had to take control of the former Confederate states. They wanted to make sure Confederate soldiers stopped fighting. Good enough. Union generals set large. Okay. This is difficulties, I know, so better go with that. Next page. Anyways. Excuse me. Anyway, move on. Next. Groups of soldiers to all parts in the company to enforce freedom and peace. Union General Gorham Granger was called to travel to Texas. On June 19th, Granger arrived at Galveston, Texas, with nearly 2,000 soldiers, with most of them on the United States General troops. Following the Union Army have arrived. General Granger was read General Order Number 3. Excuse me. General Order Number 3. This will order to shine with enslaved people are free. Wow. Most importantly, now they have had Union soldiers to protect them, to make them sure they would stay free. Good enough. Who? The United States Colored Troops, or USCCT for short, were groups of black soldiers who have fought in the Union Army. By the end of the war, they made up to 1/10 of the Union soldiers. Something like that. Anyway, first moments of freedom. When the Admiral General Union Order Number 3, African Americans grabbing celebrated, General Order Number 3 asked black people to stay in Texas to work for money, but many ignored their request. They wanted to move and look for lost family members. Since black Texans, and that makes more sense anyway, so there you go. And that makes more difference anyway. Next page. Anyways, new freedom, but had no boundaries. Say that some say Texas, but orders were relocated to places like New Orleans, Louisiana. Some people moved further west. No matter who were African Americans weren't, they faced hardship. Many people did not want black people in their communities. Job the fate task. Thanks, my dad. How do you think enslaved African Americans felt when they were free? Happy, I guess. How do you celebrate freedom? I don't know. It all depends. Anyway, some Southerners did not want to accept the end of slavery. Wonder why? Former Confederate soldiers attacked the free black people. You told me. When African Americans asked for payment for their work, many white people refused to pay. Okay, I did not know that. Politicians knew about these problems. They created an organization to make sure African Americans were protected. It was called the Freemen's Bureau. After the Civil War, it became clear the ending of slavery did not stop racism and hate. Exactly. But free African Americans everywhere rallied together to build a new life. They created schools and new churches. They started successful businesses and farms. EIL, difference here. They voted in, and that makes bits and pieces make more sense, but difficulties enough. Next page. Anyways, elections, my dad. Anyways, in years following the war, 16 black members of the Congress, including 2 black senators, were elected. When the last battle of Civil War ends, May 14th, 1865, General Granger read General Order Number 3, June 19th, 1865. Here we go. Chapter 5, Jubilee Day. And this is the way the bitch gets started. So, there you go on that. That's how it all began. Celebrate the holiday. Next page. Anyways, jumping the fake ties. Why do you think the question celebrates when do support the African Americans? I don't know. You're telling me. Early celebrations. African Americans decided to celebrate the day that General Granger had arrived in questions and enforced General Order Number 3. On June 19th, 1866, black people in generations gathered to celebrate the first anniversary of freedom. At first, they called June 19th Jubilee Day, which is going to be exciting. The Jubilee is celebrating special celebration of an anniversary going up. And the early gatherings often include food and music. People cook traditional foods like barbecue. They also have summer dishes like watermelon. They made a special red drink by mixing strawberries and lemonade going up. The red color reminded them of suffering they had faced during slavery. Okay. Some places, celebrations include people reading the immigration proclamation out loud. This gathering were usually held in community spaces, something like that, like parks and churches. There were parties and parades of singers and dancers and crazy, something like that. Many early celebrations focus on civic engagement. Civic engagement is people getting together to support the important causes. Black Texans want to celebrate freedom, but they want new freedom came with responsibilities. Even the black people, and that has made more sense anyway. It's a good way to celebrate. It's a piece of Juneteenth, but that's just me. Next page. Anyways, and we're almost done. Anyway, the free, they will face racism, something like that. Black leaders held rallies and events on Jubilee Day to support equally. Excuse me, we're going to go overtime, but anyway. Excuse me, anyway. For black people, and not just freedom, something like that. Making history. Over time, black people started to call Jubilee Day Juneteenth. Wow. Now, Juneteenth is a short version of June 19th, which I call that day, June 19th, because it's a regular day, it's a normal day for me. But anyway, celebrations continue to grow. Black community leaders often ran into problems and when they tried to celebrate Juneteenth, even after the 13th Amendment, because the Pacific Commission, to some white Americans believed black people were inferior. They thought black Americans should remain enslaved. Some white people did not want black people to use public places for their celebrations. In 1972, 4 men from the Third World War, a black neighborhood in Houston, Texas, which my mom was originally born in, had an idea to pull together money from the Black Park and hold Juneteenth celebrations. They bought nearly 10 acres and over the park every June to end slavery. They call it Embarkation Park. Now who, you may ask? John Henry Jack Yates was a free man, reverend, and leader in Houston. He and the other free man worked together to buy Embarkation Park. Now, that's a good idea. African Americans came together to celebrate immigration in many ways. Immigration celebrations happen throughout the country and at different times. Remember that the enslaved people were freed at the different times throughout the Civil War. Some people were celebrating January 1st because that is New Year's Day. And that makes sense anyway. So that is a perfect sense anyway. So there you go. Next page. Anyways, that's when the immigration paration was the fact. I thought it was New Year's Day for some reason. But anyway. Black people went to church on December 31st, which is New Year's Eve, by the way. Went to the clock to strike midnight. They called those gatherings White Night service. Anyway, African Americans in Richmond, Virginia, okay, celebrate on April 3rd, okay, because it was given the Union Army in Richmond, okay. Now, makes sense anyway. We never mentioned allow African Americans to come together to reflect on their past. It also allowed them to celebrate their hard-earned freedom and to celebrate new traditions. Now, when exactly? The first Jubilee celebration takes place in 1866. Black leaders purchased Embarkation Park in 1872. There you go. That makes sense in any way. So there you go. And that makes more sense with Juneteenth days, years, every year. Next page. Anyways, chapter 6, Juneteenth over the years. Juneteenth, new challenges. Here we go. 20th century brought the new challenges for African Americans. several politicians created unfair rules called Jim Crow laws. These laws kept black and white people apart. Makes sense anyway. Which is known as segregation. Black people could not go in the same schools as white people. Wow. Not fair. Anyways, they were not allowed to make public places again. Not fair. The laws even made it hard for black people to vote. I'm sorry, this is difficulties, I know. Black people lost many of the right ways they can gain after the Civil War. This is unfair. Some white Southerners joined the racist groups like, I'm not gonna say it, sorry. I'm not in front of the LGBT, I'm sorry. This is not gonna happen, sorry. Okay, members of the things, I'm not gonna say in LGBT, I'm sorry, were violent towards black Southerners who refused to follow unfair rules. Wow. Confidence of supporters built statues dedicated to jump coverage jails, and many places celebrating Juneteenth were dangerous. Yeah, I agree. It's too dangerous. I'm sorry, but this is difficulties. I know, but it's just a slap in the face for black people. Sorry. Next page. Anyways, in 1946, nearly 200,000 people showed up to celebrate Juneteenth in the Texas State Fair in Dallas, Texas. In 1948, however, the governor of Texas claimed Juneteenth an initial claim day in Texas. This act did not show up in Jim Crow laws or the threats of violence. Jim Crow laws made holding Juneteenth celebrations difficult at the time. Wow. But many black people continued to organize gatherings. Now, Henry Short was not allowed to attend the University of Texas because he was black. Wow. He sued the school in 1950. He won his case because public universities in Texas were degradized. Scary, I know. Now, civil rights movement. From the 1940s and 1970s, Juneteenth celebrations were undershadowed by the civil rights movement. In 1960s, leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Ellis Baker created organizations and fought against inequalities like that. They wanted fair treatment and equal rights. They organized marches and parent protests. Martin Luther King Jr. organized events like the March of Washington, where 250,000 people gathered to support equal rights of black Americans. They call it I Have a Dream speech. And that is perfect sense, people. That is the way you end that moment. Next page. Anyways, many groups worked together to protest segregation and fought for voting rights. They faced extreme violence when they marched to protest unfair laws. The police often attacked them, and many protesters were put in jail. Difficult to know. During this time, fewer Juneteenth celebrations took place. People were focused on trying to regain the rights taken away by Jim Crow laws. And that saddens me, I know. Then in 1968, Corey Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., brought attendance to Juneteenth. Now, Jim Fink. Why do you think that fewer people celebrate Juneteenth during the civil rights movements? I have no idea. Anyways, she helped plan the protest so the poor people could pay. Protesters traveled to Washington, D.C. to ask the government to help poor Americans find the work of housing, like that. King organizations picked June 19th as the day the campaign would end. And I agree, because it makes sense, people. I don't call it Juneteenth at the time, so there you go. Next page. Anyways, as the campaign was over, many protesters brought Juneteenth celebrations back to their own communities. The fight would equally continue, but Juneteenth was celebrated more than more. When? Now, Juneteenth was celebrated at the Texas State Fair in 1946. The Question Day was made a day of the First of Texas in 1948. Martin Luther King Jr. leads the March on Washington in 1963, and the People's Campaign is of Juneteenth in 1968. It's unfair for us. Now, Chapter 7, Juneteenth Today. And that is the perfect way to end this. And we're over 35 minutes of taping this bedtime story episode. So, there you go. Let's just end it all. Next page. Anyways, official holiday. By the 1970s, Juneteenth was celebrated in many parts of the country, okay? Black communities bothered Juneteenth with their own admission what days. People gathered at churches, in parks, and at community centers. The celebration included racial rallies and justice and equality. Wow. Emergency Day has been honored as the Day of Independence of Texas since 1938. Wow. But Juneteenth was not an official state holiday. In the 1970s, the state representatives Al Edwards called Edwards made Juneteenth a state holiday. It would mean many schools, businesses, and part of the government would be closed on Juneteenth. Everyone may have the day off to celebrate. As of the hard drive, Edward probably succeeded. In 1980, Texas made Juneteenth a state holiday. Wow. Now, jump to the state task. If you would celebrate a holiday like everyone celebrate, what would it be? LSUM/12 anniversary. That would be February 24th. Good enough. Now, 1997, National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation, NJCF for short, declared a flag to be flown on the holiday. The flag includes one star recognition of the state of Texas and the President's star recognition for freedom. The flag also includes the silk colors red, white, and blue. United States flag, that is. These silk colors are a reminder that African Americans are part of American history. Good enough. As Juneteenth become more popular, organizers wanted to be a fair holiday. The mechanism would be honored across the nation, not just in Texas, since 1946. 76, Oba Lee, a well-known Texan. Yeah, it makes sense anyway, so there you go. That's him in the background. So see here is, this picture seen here is, drawing, yeah. That's, Al Edwards. Anyways, next page. Anyways, activists, have been, on version for Juneteenth to become federal holiday, something like that. Anyway, Lee walked distance for show her distance, dedication, and some of that to the cause. In 2021, after hard work with people like Opal Lee and Al Edwards, President Joe Biden signed Bill 475. The bill made Juneteenth a federal holiday. Opal Lee was recognized at the signing ceremony. Wow. When Opal Lee was 12, a group of white people burned down the home. The tragedy made her want to fight against racism. She is now known as the grandmother of Juneteenth. Wow. Celebration today. Today, all Americans can celebrate Juneteenth wherever they want to, okay? Now is their federal holiday. Most businesses with government buildings can be closed for the day. Many states have begun the organization large parades or festivals. Juneteenth festivals usually include music and dancing, okay? Heavy metal style, ladies and gentlemen. So what happens. Anyways, well, the business decorate parades, floats, or serve foods like that. And some places, people read the American proclamations. They also sing songs and read poems by famous black writers, black soldiers, and still celebrate Juneteenth with local customs. Some people organize beauty pageants which a crowd amidst Juneteenth. Juneteenth is also about gathering with family and friends to remember the past and celebrate the future. And that's how you do that. So, there you are, that. And we're almost done here, so here we go. Juneteenth started as Grayson, Texas in 1865, but is now recognized as through the United States. For decades, black people faced racism, discrimination, and inequality. Even when there was fewer celebrations, black people made sure Juneteenth was remembered. they were created a tradition when they worked on what to make sure there was art forever. So we can all celebrate the history of Juneteenth and birth freedom that African Americans like Sarah Ashley felt in 1865. Now, when Juneteenth became a state holiday in Texas in 1980, the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation, NJCF for short, anyway, created the Juneteenth flag in 1997, and in 2021, Juneteenth became a federal holiday. Now, the last chapter we're going to read is So When the History of Juneteenth, and this is what we're going to have to do it. So, there you go on that. Here we go. Challenge accepted. I'm not going to read everything, so here we go. So you can read the book and now you test your Juneteenth knowledge by turning to the quiz. Here are the answers on the page 63, so don't peek. When is Juneteenth celebrated? I know this is B. When is Juneteenth originally celebrated? A. Texas. And when is birthday celebration? I have no idea. I'm going to say D. Anyways, what was the ritual name for Juneteenth? Jubilee Day. C. Was Jack Yates by Equation Park? This one I don't know. I'm gonna say he wanted a place to freely celebrate Juneteenth. Yeah. This one I have to make it a question yourself. But last page of the book, and then we save this. Oh yeah, makes sense anyway. Where was the first? Oh yeah, it makes more sense anyway. Where was the third war? I'm gonna say A. I have no idea. Sorry. Where's the poor people's companion? No idea. I'm gonna pause. What is the colors on the Juneteenth flag? I know what this is. A. When is Oprah Lee? The grandmother, Leah. I have no idea. Pass. What else are we celebrating today? All the above. D. What's the answers? Look here. One is B. Yes. I got it. Okay, let me see here. Got it. B. A. Number 2 is A. Number 2 is A. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Got number 3. That's it. I said May Juneteenth. May. So wait. Is this right? Yes, it's D. Okay, it makes sense. Okay. I said C. Number 4. Yes, it's right. Okay. Number 5. I'm gonna cheat this one. But, number 5 is. Yeah, I said B, and yes, it's B. Number 6, this one I don't know. I'm gonna say A. I said A for this one, and it's not A. It's not A. It's D. I'm sorry. I don't know. Number 7, I said I was gonna pass. I don't know. It is B. Oh, I see. It's June 19th, 1968. Okay, makes sense. Anyway. Number 8, I don't know the answer, so I say, oh yeah, I know this is A, okay. It is A, okay, makes sense. Number 9, I don't know who Oprah Lee is. I pass on this one, and it's C. Oh, I see, okay, I mean, this will make the Juneteenth holiday, okay. And number 10 is all the above. I said D. And it's D, okay, that is good. That is good. So I don't know some of the answers in this one, so that makes sense. And the last page, I don't know the answers were, so yeah. Our world. Juneteenth has been celebrated more than 150 years. Wow. Okay. And I'm not going to read the whole glossary, so as we learn about history, we can remember the past, and especially the change that the Black Americans have fought for. So, anyway, I'm not going to read all of that, so, anyway, that makes sense anyway. Anyway, that's it for Juneteenth, the history of Juneteenth. I think it was amazing, despite the quizzes and other things, so, it's a fair holiday. At first, I hated the holiday. At first, I wanted to hate the holiday, but, like, okay, screw it, I love the holiday now, but, should have been harsh on this holiday, but whatever. Whatever. That's a successful book. Okay? Whatever. That was Bedtime Stories episode number 635. This is the longest one I have read for bedtime. It's next to the earliest Bedtime Stories episode I have to read, but you have to figure this out for yourselves. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. There's going to be another Bedtime Stories episode on my little gold book about giraffes. Next episode, Bedtime Stories on that. Anyway, no, excuse me. I got and not 1, not 2, but 4 projects for today. Out of the 5, and I gotta get ready for bed. Cause after this is over, I'll post on social media and upload. Anyway, and I gotta get ready for bed. So after this is over, I gotta get ready for work in the morning. Till next time, this is Joe's Baby. Seriously out. See ya.